I made it. And hey, Kendall.
Hi.
I don't hear your audio. Is that intentional?
No.
Oh, I know why. Never mind. It's my speaker that was turned off.
Okay.
You look comfortable.
I am. I'm studying for accounting.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
The things we have to do sometimes. All right. Let's see if anybody else shows up.
I'm not
It's been a long
seeing
day already.
I'm not seeing your face.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let me fix that. All right. There we go.
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So which accounting class are you in?
The first one.
Hmm?
Fundamental
How's that?
principles.
How's that going?
Good. My first exam is tomorrow, so we'll see after that. But I mean, I understand everything so far.
Who's your teacher?
Frackleton.
Oh, yeah, he's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we should wait a few minutes to see if anyone else will show up.
Okay.
I kind of expected to be here.
I know, the one right before the exam.
Of course, if they don't show up, then I won't have to. Oh, hey, Megan. Megan.
See you guys yet? Oh, okay.
Move your head, Megan.
What?
Move your head.
There. Is my head here?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good. It's a small group.
Yes.
Kendall has a better camera than you do.
It's also maybe because it's dark in here.
Oh, that's better.
There we go.
I was sitting in the dark.
I've been sitting in the car for the last hour. I was just
Yeah.
raining.
I heard traffic.
Yep.
There's bad traffic on my way home from school too. There are a lot
Where
of
do you live?
accidents.
Megan,
Yeah.
where do you live?
I live over in like the Massaponax area near like Cousins Corner.
Addie's here.
Hi.
You couldn't have a hangout without Addie. It just wouldn't work. Maggie, do you have a camera?
Yes, is it not showing me?
No, it is now. It is now.
Okay.
So you guys got the memo? The first 4 people in the hangout get the A?
Aha.
Oh, is that
I like
true? I like that.
Unfortunately, not.
We should at least get some points for it.
You do. You do. And you get a gold star. I had a summer birthday. I have a summer birthday. And so in elementary school, I never got the special treat for having
Right? I feel your
Me
pain.
too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
it. Just seemed totally unfair.
You know, everybody's parents come in and bring in cupcakes, and then you're just like, okay.
Right. Kendall, there's Kendall. Kendall, have you been to one of these hangouts before?
Yes.
Okay. Megan, Maggie.
I finally got home in time from workouts to join again.
Good.
And I even showered, so you guys are welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just glad I could make this one last week. I've been so sick. So many people have been so crazy sick, and it hit me really hard last week. So
Yep.
I'm glad that I've been okay this week.
Well, I'm not really liking this late meeting. We ended at 5:30, but it could have gone longer. And that gives me like just enough time to dash home.
Yeah, and then you still have to eat dinner and all that stuff. So
Yeah, well, yeah, I haven't done that yet.
oh. We wouldn't be opposed to you eating dinner while you sit here and chat to us about economics.
First, I have to go shopping.
Oh,
Aw.
So, all right, we'll give people 2 more minutes to get here, and then to heck with them.
They're busy studying.
Maybe studying accounting. It sounds like.
Yep, that's me right now.
me too.
Are you in the 2 to 3:15 class?
No, I'm in 8 o'clock to 9:15.
Oh,
Jeez.
Is that morning? Morning?
Yes, morning.
Early.
Is it the Sarkar?
No, it's Frackleton.
Oh, okay.
Addie, is that a clock on the wall behind you?
Yeah, I'm actually in the audio room.
Oh, nice.
So there's nobody in here, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna pop in.
Smart. Well, I guess I can start talking, and people can go as they will. I wanted to do a couple of things today. First, I wanted to go over the homework because there will be a problem like that on the exam. And so if you learn it tonight, then you'll have no problem. The second thing I wanted to do is talk about the exam, tell you what you can expect. And then the third thing I wanted to do is take any questions that you had about it. So let's go straight to the homework. And I actually have a really awesome example of the homework because Kendall did it and then said it would be okay if I shared it with you guys. So let's do that. All right, first I have to share my screen. It's over here somewhere. All right, entire screen. And where is that? Nope, not there. Not there. You know, when you have 12 windows open, sometimes you can't immediately see the one that you want. Okay, can you see that now? Let me try again. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Addie, you got that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So if you wanted, you could read the really good explanation there, but the graph is really enough to tell you what's going on.
That was all Megan, the graph.
Oh, sorry,
We're
Megan.
done together.
No problem. I wasn't going to take the credit. It was group.
Yeah, if I didn't hear from Kendall when I shot out the first email, I was gonna see who else was in that group. Okay, so you know, broadband service is better quality, and so we can expect the demand to go up. And so what you can see here is at the original price, the demand was this quantity, and now it's bigger. It's over here. Okay, so the demand curve shifts to the right, to the right at every price. And what that does is that increase in demand is going to push the price up to E1 here, and it's going to increase the quantity to Q1, which you can't see, but it's an increase. Okay, so we can summarize this really fast and say the demand curve shifts to the right. That's an increase, and the price goes up, and the equilibrium quantity goes up also. Does that make sense to everybody? I expect it makes sense to Kendall and to Megan. Alexis?
Hey.
Maggie, are you? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Good. We'll wait till Alexis gets her head in the picture. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so Alexis, we were just going over the homework, the supply and demand homework.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
see it here?
Uh-huh.
So what we said is because broadband is better quality, there's going to be an increase in demand. So we take the whole demand curve and we shift it over here to the right. And as a result of that, we move to a higher equilibrium, which corresponds to an increase in the price and an increase in the equilibrium quantity. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll go to part two. Part two, let me, the subsidy. Yeah. So the government says we're going to give a subsidy because we want to encourage people to use broadband. The subsidy is essentially a payment to the internet service provider for every customer that they get. So the way we treat a subsidy is it's kind of like the opposite of a tax, where a tax increases production cost because the seller has to pay that tax. A subsidy decreases production cost. And when there's a decrease in production cost, the supply curve is going to shift to the right, like this nice big arrow here. The way I actually like to think about this is by going back to the equilibrium and drawing the quantity down, okay? So what we're saying is because it costs less to the producer can turn around and lower the price, okay? And so the same quantity is now going to correspond to a lower price than it did before, right? Now that's not the price that's going to stick, because since the price is lower, more people are going to want broadband, and so we're going to move down along the demand curve here, right? As a general rule, what causes a movement along the demand curve is always going to be a change in the price. That's the only thing that causes a movement along the demand curve. And what causes a change in the price is going to be a shift in supply. So a shift in supply causes a movement along the demand curve. And vice versa too, a shift in demand causes a movement along the supply curve. That we saw up here, right? Shift in demand, movement along the supply curve. Okay, so in this case, since we're moving along the demand curve, when the price goes down, the equilibrium quantity actually goes up, right? So in this case, because of the subsidy, the price goes down. That kind of makes sense. And because the price goes down, more people want internet, and so the quantity goes up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Now, part three, the put it all together graph. All right. Now, I really like the way you've labeled your equilibriums here, because what this allows us to see is, let's see, did we do it right? Demand, supply. Okay, so this is where we started, right? Okay. In the first case, with the introduction of broadband, the equilibrium quantity was here at E, right? And then it went up to E1. More people want internet when the quality is better. In the second case with the subsidy, the quantity went from E1 to E2. So if you compare two, it should be clear that the quantity is increased, because in both of the parts, the quantity went up. So it went up the first time, it went up the second time. So together, it definitely increased. Does everybody see that? Addie, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now, when both curves shift, you're going to know for sure what happens to one of the two variables. In this case, we know for sure what happened to the quantity, right? Because in both parts, quantity went the same way, it increased. But when both curves shift, you won't be able to tell for sure what happens to the other one, right? So here, in the first case, the price went up. In the second case, the price went down. Without knowing how far each curve shifts, without knowing the numbers, the actual numbers, in other words, you won't be able to tell for sure what's going to happen. The way you guys have this drawn, it looks almost like the price didn't change very much, but we can't really say for sure there. Okay, it could have ended up a little bit higher. It could have gone down a little bit lower. Right. So the right answer here is the equilibrium quantity goes up for sure, but the equilibrium price we just can't tell. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody got that? Anybody
Yes.
have questions? No questions?
No.
Awesome. Okay, like I said, there's going to be one of these problems on the exam. So, you know, I would, if you're the least bit unsure, I would go back and watch the video and make sure you understand this. Okay, and then you can always reach out to me too. I will be accessible tomorrow. Shoot me an email. We can talk by phone. I won't be in the office, but the phone should work just as well. That's, assuming you guys still know how to talk on the phone as opposed to just sending texts or something.
So wait, are we going to be like drawing graphs, or is it just going to be like a selection, kind of like the multiple choice quizzes on?
Okay, that's a great question. All right, first of all, let me undo the screen sharing so that everything will be a little clearer. The answer is the exam is multiple choice. But if I were you, I would draw the graph so that you can be sure that you're figuring out the right answer. Okay.
Okay.
So what it'll say is, it'll say, here's a situation. There's a disturbance to the market, like there's a freeze in Florida, right? How does that affect the market for orange juice, right? So you have to say to yourself, does the supply curve shift or does the demand curve shift? And so for me, it's always easier to just draw a little graph in the margin. And then once you shift the curve, that will also tell you what happens to the price and what happens to the quantity. So there are 8 parts to the problem. The first part is a shift in demand or supply. So the first part of the first part says which curve shifts. Then it says what happens to the price. Then it says what happens to the quantity. And then in the second part, usually the other curve shifts. And then it says what happens to the price, what happens to the quantity. And at the very end, it says, okay, now put them together. What happens to the price and what happens to the quantity? So it's really exactly the same as this problem, but a different scenario.
All right.
Okay, there are 30 multiple choice questions. Most people take 30 to 40 minutes to finish it. Okay, so, it's an hour class when we do this face-to-face. You'll have 60 minutes from when you start to finish the exam, but it shouldn't take that long. Okay.
Right.
If you, the exam will be available as a quiz in Canvas starting midnight tomorrow and going to midnight on Friday. So you'll have 24 hours. If you do it when the sun is up, then if you have a question, you can actually shoot me an email, because I get my email wherever I am, and I can try to help you. If you do it between, say, midnight Thursday and 6 a.m. in the morning, you can shoot me the question, but I won't be answering it until I get up. Okay. So what's on the exam is the way I make up the exam is I go and I look at the course outline. Let me see if I can pull that up. Econ 201 online. Let me share my screen again. There, entire screen. And then I just click on the course outline. And so then I remind myself, what have we done? We've done topic 1, topic 2, topic 3, and topic 4. Okay. Then I go over here and I say, all right, well, that was the module on economic thinking, the module on choice in a world of scarcity, the module on supply and demand, the module on government action. And then we did a couple of other things. We did this alternative ways of solving the economic problem, which is all covered in this chapter in Halberner. And then we did the first 4 items in the module on monetary policy, which was all about what is money and what is credit and how does the banking system work, basically. Okay, we will come back to this module later in the course, but it always makes sense to me that since we've been talking about supply and demand, to at least introduce what money is, because most of us don't do barter transactions. We're dealing with money. Okay. So what I did is I created questions proportionate roughly to the amount of time that we spent on these things. We spent the least amount of time on the role of money, so there are only a couple of questions on that. We spent a lot of time on supply and demand, so there are a lot of questions on that. Okay. The total is actually 30 questions and 1 multiple choice. Okay, the multiple choice is an open question. So it's not multiple choice. If you put an answer in, you will get the credit. Okay. In other words, there are no wrong answers. But it's a serious question. So I hope you'll take it seriously. It won't take more than you figure it out. Okay.
Which question is that?
It's the last question. It's extra
Oh.
credit. So there's 30 multiple choice, and then there's one extra credit question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I had to say. But what questions do you have, either about kind of the structure of the exam, or any topics that you need help with, or what? Resounding silence.
For the Hellbrunner reading, I don't know
Yes.
if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yep,
Will the
that is.
questions just be like conceptual type of questions, or
yeah,
like
that's one other thing. Yes, that's one other thing I was going to say. The questions fall into one of three types. They're either sort of definitions of concepts, or they're simple applications of concepts, or they can be problems. Okay, on this exam, the only time I use problems is when there's a specific model that we've been working with. And so that's the big supply and demand problem. Okay, so besides the supply and demand problem, it's definitions of concepts and showing that you know how to use them. Okay, the Heilbronner book is all words, no equations, no graphs, no nothing. So it's all conceptual.
So there aren't any of those problems about like the oh gosh, was it the constraint models and those types of the budget constraint?
No, there aren't. Okay, and the reason why is those are really microeconomic concepts. I mean, they're very important in micro. We kind of talk about them a little bit at the beginning of this course, but no, you don't need to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Good, because that was harder.
There's really no math. There's really no math problems on this test.
Okay.
You know,
Yay, no
it's
math.
Great.
useful to be able to draw the graphs sometimes, but that's the extent of it.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Kendall, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, you're taking accounting, and you're not excited about math. Come on.
Oh, I'm a fan of math. You know, when I have to do it.
Good. Okay, good answer. Kendall has frozen.
Did I?
There you go. Now you're moving again.
Okay.
Other questions? I love the pictures on your wall, Alexis.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
They look like they were painted by a human being.
Well, that one was actually painted by me in second grade.
That's fantastic.
I do kind of have a question, and it's more of just what you would recommend. So right now, what I've been doing to study is I've been pulling like what we should know from each topic, like in the blog. It's like topic 1, what you should know from this, and then I've just kind of answered it in my own words.
That's a really good way to study.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure that that's kind of what I haven't reread many of the chapters or anything. So.
You know, the problem is it doesn't make sense to try to memorize everything because economics is really an applied subject. It's you use it. So I try to ask questions that make you show me what you know and how to use things. So that's a really good way to go about it. You know, another thing you could do is go through each of the modules and figure out what are the key concepts here, you know, because those are the ones that I'm likely to ask about. You know, and the kinds of stuff that we've done in the Hangouts has pretty much been a good example of the kinds of stuff that you'll see on the exam.
Okay.
I don't just mean tonight, I mean all the Hangouts that we've done. You guys tend to ask really good questions.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not really. My strategy for this one is just see how it goes and try to figure it out.
Okay.
I have to figure out how you give tests.
Sure, absolutely. And actually, this is probably the easiest test I'll give. So it's a good one to use that strategy on. There's a lot of common sense in the test.
For the types of simple applications, are they kind of like the self-check questions at the end of the modules?
Yeah, they are, except there won't be math questions. They're all conceptual.
Okay.
You know, should you go out to that party tomorrow night, what would be the opportunity cost of doing that? That's a simple application problem.
Gotcha.
Are there any of those questions that have like multiple answers? Those in the self-check quiz where you check a bunch of things. Really
No.
Okay.
Sort of no. The short answer is no. The longer answer is, I think there are 2 questions that one of the choices is all of the above or none of the above.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay. But there is one, you know, if you pick that one and it's all of the above, you don't have to pick, you know, A and B and C.
Right.
Yeah. We are actually phasing out those multiple select questions. It seemed like a good idea at the beginning of the project, but not so much anymore. Okay, well then I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna be, tomorrow's a big work day for me, which means I'm at home, not at school. So I'll be sitting in front of my computer the whole day. And so if you have questions, just, you know, shoot me an email and we can talk by phone if I can't answer the question with an email. And you know, the other thing is, this is a radical idea, I know. But in past semesters, sometimes students have actually come into my office on Friday before they took the exam if they had a question that they really needed answered. And I know at least one of you likes to visit me in my office, and I won't name you. So anyway, you know,
I can't help it. I'm always on campus.
that's a good thing. Hey, you paid for
Yeah.
that help. You might as well get it.
I know, right?
Yep, absolutely. Or as I have a face-to-face class taking this too. This class too. And I told them today, you know, questions today are free. Questions on Friday are more expensive. So, anyway, all right. Well, thanks for coming tonight. And I will see you guys soon. Bye now.
Yeah.
Good luck, everyone. Bye.